This is iReport, First Voice News, bringing you today's top stories. It's September 26th, and here are the headlines.
The human spirit can be remarkably resilient in the darkest times. Today we're exploring 8 powerful stories from Ukraine that show how ordinary moments, a child's drawing, a morning coffee, a shared meal, become extraordinary acts of defiance during war.
That's such a powerful way to frame these stories. What strikes me most is how they capture these intimate moments that we rarely see in the headlines.
You know, the story that really got to me was about that little girl in the Kyiv metro station. Here's this child, surrounded by the reality of war, yet she's drawing a picture of her home with a bright sun above it. It's like she's refusing to let the circumstances dim her hope.
That image really hits hard, especially when you consider that over 3 million Ukrainian children have been displaced since the conflict began. Each one of them probably carries similar dreams of returning home.
And what's fascinating is how these stories keep weaving between moments of normalcy and sudden chaos. Like that market scene in Kyiv. One minute people are just buying bread and vegetables. The next minute there's an air raid siren and everyone's running for their lives.
That market story really shows how quickly everything can change. You know, before the war, Kyiv's markets served over 2 million people daily. Now they've become these spaces where danger and daily life intersect.
Speaking of daily life, that blackout story from Kharkiv really demonstrates something remarkable about human nature. When the power went out, people didn't retreat. They came together, shared what they had, made tea by candlelight.
It reminds me of how communities often grow stronger during crises. Studies have shown that social cohesion actually tends to increase during times of hardship.
That's exactly what we see in the volunteer kitchen story too. That grandmother saying, "We cannot shoot, but we can cook." It's such a powerful statement about how resistance takes many forms. And these kitchens have become crucial support systems, serving thousands of meals daily.
Well, that brings up something interesting about the role of food in crisis situations. Throughout history, shared meals have been a way for communities to maintain their cultural identity during conflicts.
And we see that thread running through so many of these stories. The market, the shared tea, the volunteer kitchen. It's like these basic acts of sustenance become anchoring points in the chaos. They're not just about survival, they're about maintaining humanity.
That's such a thoughtful observation about food being an anchor. How do you think these everyday rituals help people cope with trauma?
Well, mental health experts have found that maintaining routine and connection during crisis situations can significantly reduce trauma's impact. Even something as simple as that morning coffee ritual in the Odessa story. It's a way of claiming normalcy in an abnormal situation.
And speaking of Odessa, that story about watching the sunrise turn to air raid sirens, it really captures how the war has changed people's relationship with time and space.
Exactly. And this transformation of space is even more evident in the Bucha story. Those bullet holes in the walls, the shattered windows, they're not just damage to a building, they're wounds in someone's personal history. Yet finding that old family photo becomes this powerful moment of continuity.
That detail about brushing the dust off the photo, it's such a small gesture, but carries so much meaning about preserving memory in the face of destruction.
You know what stays with me most? How these stories show that even in the darkest circumstances, people find ways to create light. Whether it's a child drawing a sunny picture, neighbors sharing tea in a blackout, or sunset gatherings by a river in a broken city.
So, what you're saying is that these small acts of normal life become their own kind of resistance?
Precisely. And maybe that's the most powerful message in these stories. They show us that extraordinary circumstances don't always require extraordinary responses. Sometimes the most profound resistance is in continuing to draw pictures, make tea, cook meals, share bread, in refusing to let war take away our fundamental humanity.